Has everyone signed in?
I didn't know if Heather was gonna be here, so I didn't wanna sit.
She's not. You sit in the middle?
Go right
It
into
don't matter to me. Well, you can sit in the middle. I like this one because I don't have to constantly turn my head to see the screen.
Yeah, the screen's pretty nice.
Andy.
So really Joey should sit in the middle of the seat.
Andy, you're welcome to sit up.
Nobody wants Man, I almost didn't recognize you. Holy cow. Glasses. Now, very good. All right, it is 4:01 PM. We will call to order the Lake County Planning Commission regular meeting of July 13th, 2026. Roll call for Planning Commission members: Jason Rufo,
Here,
David Urich here, Joey Edwards here, Heather Lind is absent, not online. Roll call for Lake County Planning Commissioners: Al Sathar,
Here.
Andrew Lee,
here.
and Matt Bullock.
Here.
All right, are there any changes or additions to the agenda?
Nothing.
Okay. Did everyone have a chance to review the minutes?
I did, yes.
Were there any changes that needed to be made?
Just a couple little typos, and I've forwarded those to Melissa and
Very good,
taken care of.
We'll
That
make
being-
those changes.
very good. That being the case, I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes for the June 8th, 22nd, and 29th meetings.
I move to approve the minutes for the June 2nd to the
8th, 22nd, and
8th,
29th.
22nd, and the 29th.
Didn't mean to make that complicated. A second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alright. And one second, I hear a button. Alright. Updates from staff, please.
Okay, I will, we do have quite a few updates, but I'll try to keep them brief, realizing this room gets pretty tight pretty quick. We are advertising right now for the planning commission positions. We have one regular member and 2 alternate positions. Those, we have an ad online and in the Herald. We currently have 2 applicants that we forwarded to you. And potentially we will have more. So when we have this case, we typically hold interviews for anybody that wants to serve, and we make up that team by the chair and vice chair and 1 member from the BOCC. And we're thinking that we would hold those interviews around August 10th. The other thing that we have is the moratorium. We have taken a 2-month extension on that until October. So I think those are the major updates that we have for you today.
Alright, and we have accepted Ryan Hills and Steve Stevens' resignations. Is there any old business to attend to?
Nothing that we don't have on the agenda for tonight.
For anyone following along, there are 2 items of new business this evening. The first one, the public hearing for our joint comprehensive plan is changed to just a staff update. Please go right ahead.
So we've completed, the draft review of the comp plan with our community, our appointeds, and our electeds. But we've been working with DOLA on, we've done one initial review with them that came back basically saying that it was an exceptional planning document. But there's a new element called the strategic growth plan, and there's still some items outstanding on that we're working on our consultant with. And so we feel that it would be better to go ahead and look at adopting this as an entire document instead of adopting it, looking to have a public hearing and adopt it, and then have to come in and amend it for that statutory element. So we're just gonna take a little bit of a pause, and we actually have an opportunity to put it back through DOLA and feel, really good about the plan as a whole and bring it back for adoption. So we're gonna renotice it. We still are in sync with the city for that adoption, and we're working on the project management team to make sure that we do this concurrently.
So it won't come back until it's been through DOLA one more time.
Exactly.
Great.
exactly. So we don't intend to bring that to you this evening.
Very good. The second item under new business this evening is a public hearing, file number 25-19, the Alpen Flow Group Camp conditional use permit and site plan. Before we start our meeting, I will read an opening statement as chair for the evening. The Lake County Planning Commission and the Board of County Commissioners will now conduct a joint public hearing. This statement I am reading shall be incorporated into and made a part of the record on these proceedings. The Planning Commission and the Board of County Commissioners have jurisdiction to conduct a joint public hearing on a conditional use permit application under section 3.6.1 of the Lake County Land Development Code. And simultaneously, the Planning Commission will open the site plan review pursuant to section 3.15. The purpose of this hearing is to consider whether the conditional use permit application and site plan review should be approved. In considering this matter, the Commission will address the approval criteria set forth in sections 3.6.1F and 3.15E of the Lake County Land Development Code. Due to time limitations, and in accordance with the authority vested in the chair pursuant to the Rule 14.4 of the Rules and Regulations of the Lake County Planning Commission, public comment should be limited to 3 minutes per presenter. Presentations will be done in person first, based on your sign-in on the roll sheet, and then we will move on to online guests. The procedure to be following in this hearing will be as follows. First, members of the commission and/or the board will disclose any ex parte communications. Second, the county staff will make an initial presentation. Third, the applicant may then make their presentation. Fourth, after that, any other person supporting or opposing the application may present evidence, such as presentations. Those presentations again will be limited to 3 minutes. Supporting and opposing witnesses may be questioned by the commission and the board. Once questioning is concluded, no further questioning is permitted unless granted by the chair. And number 6, the applicant may then present any rebuttal evidence. The parties and witnesses are asked not to submit redundant, irrelevant, or cumulative evidence. If someone has already made the point you wish to make, please simply say so. The chair will also require that the comments be made to the Planning Commission and the board, and that there be no dialogue between applicant and members of the audience. At the conclusion of the evidentiary portion of the hearing, the chair will entertain a motion to close the evidentiary portion of the hearing, and the commission will discuss and weigh evidence. Then there will be a motion to close the discussion phase of the joint public hearing. The Board of County Commissioners will then leave the meeting, and the chair of the Planning Commission will entertain a motion on the application. The motion may only take the form of one of the 4 recommendations. Approve the application with no conditions. Approve the application with recommended conditions. Approve the application with newly identified conditions, or deny the application. The planning director shall make a record of any substantial discussion on the motion and include that in the record with the recommendation of the commission. The commission's recommendation will be in the form of a statement of motion. Are there any objections to this jurisdiction of this commission or to the form or substance of these proceedings? Seeing none, I'll now ask that each planning commission member and then each county commissioner, if you have any ex parte communications to disclose, and if so, please disclose them now. Jason Rudwell?
None.
David Urich?
None?
Joey Edwards? None. 4 county commissioners, Elsa Tharp,
None?
Andy Lee,
None.
and Matt Bullock.
None.
Very well, thank you. The county staff may make its initial presentation.
All right, thank you very much. As we all know, it's taken a while to get here, so we're pretty delighted that everything has come together this evening and allows us to hold this public hearing. This application has been through some changes over time, and I think so I think it's important to acknowledge that this application is being brought forward by Sarah and Sterling March. The site is 91 acres in size. It is off of County Road 11A, past the gravel pits, onto the pipeline, into the access to the property. So the property is zoned ag forestry, and the request tonight, which was in the script, this is a conditional use for a group camp, and it's also a site plan application, which is what we use to really identify where the improvements are located. The conditional use goes on to the board, the site plan, the final decision gets made this evening, so just so you know. The application started out and the design really is for a trail-based outdoor recreation oriented campground. When the application was first submitted many months ago, it included an event facility, and those numbers were much greater in terms of the visitation to the site. So that element of the application is not part of the current application. So tonight what we're looking at is a request for a group camp with a maximum occupancy of 100 guests. So that's a really important thing to recognize, because I think there's some comments that might relate to an event center that's no longer part of this application. Should the Mudges want to have any special events, we're gonna handle those through temporary special event permits. So just like we do for a lot of special events in town and out of town, they're on a case-by-case basis. So this campground will operate approximately 10 months per year and 300 days. What's important about that is it's not not every single day of the year. And that relates a bit to the variances that were approved for the wastewater, which we'll talk a little bit about. So you can see on this site, this is the full 91 acres. There are three segments when we think about this: the west side, the center, and the east side. The east side is where the tent camping and van camping will occur, and there's a maximum of about 75 people there. On the center portion, you kind of go up in elevation. I know many of you have been on this site. There's not a vehicular access here. OHVs will be utilized to assist in maintenance and guest services, but we're looking at 4 campsites here in the center. And these are sheltered campsites, so kind of dome structures if you think about something like that. And we have an image of that coming up. So between this center area and then we have the west side, and we're looking at about 6 campsites here. Again, these are also sheltered. Again, there's not vehicular access on this side of the property. So similarly, the OHVs will be part of, or whatever vehicles that can access and help guest services, and also, emergency services as well. So again, the total, these numbers, will be dispersed in different ways at different times as campgrounds are, is for a total of 100 people. So we spent a lot of time on the water and wastewater related to this application. And so currently, the potable water will be carried in by guests and visitors. So that will be the only water on the property. The non-potable water, the owners have worked out with Leadville Fire that they'll be non-potable to help extinguish campfires. So that will be available on site. And then the wastewater, the tent camp and van camp areas there are 4 vault toilets to 1,000-gallon tanks that were approved for that portion of the property by the Board of Health. And then composting toilets for the sheltered campground. So every dome will have its own wastewater facility. The road access, we've talked a little bit about how you get in here on County Road 11A primarily to the entrance. These internal roads, which are just this section on the east side, are going to be constructed to a primitive road standard, which is a county road standard. There is a condition on the approval for this that allows them to do snow plowing in the winter, in addition to what the county how the county maintains the property. So this conversation definitely evolved over time with the application. The Public Works does plow all the way up to the pipeline. And so they have a schedule through the winter. Should the owners want to plow more than the schedule is conducting, then they would have the opportunity through Public Works to do so. So that is one of our conditions. And then there is a bridge, as you know, this is Half Moon Creek and the road, and so there'll be an access from one side of the property to the other, not just driving around. So that's another part of the kind of access and circulation throughout the site. So even more important today than when we started this is the emergency action plan. The applicants have worked closely with the local fire department to look at these 9 different strategies to help address emergency preparedness. One of the important things that I haven't talked about yet, but as an ongoing, there's a Colorado State Forest Service forest management plan is a part of this property and has been an ongoing program even before they purchased the property. It's very important to the fire department that it continue. It's an important feature of the site. There are several things here that are important. I talked a bit about the water source for fire control that will be on site to help with that. They're requesting that the guests of the property really understand the circumstance they're in and what an evacuation might require of them, so that everybody that comes is kind of understands the position they're in. So I think that's the most important parts of that. Here are images of the structures. Again, here's the dome that we're talking about. We have some general height and sort of size requirements that are part of this. These are still somewhat conceptual, particularly the building elevation. But these 3 are part of the future phases of the project. They are being approved tonight as part of the site plan, and at the time of any building permits, a site plan is part of a building permit to verify setbacks and building heights, and if there are big variations of that when they get to that, there might be additional site planning requirements above and beyond that. But these are essentially what we're looking at in terms of the building and structures on site. So based upon this, there are approval criteria for the conditional use permit. We've covered some of these. The comprehensive plan is an important part of that. And clearly, tourism and lodging, rural lodging is a really important part of what our comprehensive plan talked about. The 2015 plan, and as many of you participated in our current One Community project, that plan also talks about some of the same and important, the development of campgrounds and rural lodging for tourism in Lake County. We believe that the application conforms with the code based upon some of the conditions of approval that I'll go over in a minute. That we believe there's adequate public safety, that the transportation is adequate, the circulation on site and the utilities have been addressed, as I've talked about a little bit in this presentation. We don't believe there's anything detrimental to the public health, safety, or welfare based upon this. Again, there are conditions that really ensure that the operations occur safely and protect visitors and others coming to the site. We believe this is in harmony with the neighboring land uses, which honestly there's quite a variety. They have a gravel pit as a neighbor as well as federal land. So, and there are large lot ranch type properties in the vicinity. So, you know, we think this campground it's reasonable to have it in this location. The particularly when we were down to 100 persons on site at one time, that's definitely not an overly intense use of the property. Doesn't generate a lot of traffic at any one time. They're really, the roads they exist where the tent camping is now, they'll be improved to a primitive road standard, so there's nothing that really changes the landscape significantly as part of this application. And we're not aware of any natural or man-made hazards. So we really believe this application does comply with the approval criteria for a conditional use permit. And similarly with the site plan, a lot of these are the same. I talked about the comp plan and the code. The submittal requirements, there've been many iterations of this application to get here tonight. And, we believe it fits well into the area it's proposed. So based upon the review of this application, all the referral agencies that we work with, we have a few conditions of approval. I talked to you a little bit about any plowing that they would want to do in the winter above and beyond what the county's schedule is, could be done in coordination with Public Works. That they adhere to the safety requirements listed with the fire department. Any of the future building or utility constructions need to go through our building permit process, as I described to you. On an annual basis, we want an audit report that really demonstrates that the 100-person limit has been met throughout the year. And they have a reservation system that should help them generate that pretty rapidly at next. Okay. And that we're asking for the pumping records be available on site as part of the vault system. It's required as part of their operations. So that's pretty typical. The road permit, we talked about the primitive road and the maintenance of the Forest Service Management Plan and soil conservation district weighed in terms of a noxious weed program that is typical of what we see and really has a lot to do with reseeding of any areas that needed during any construction that gets done. So, let's see. Yeah, the 10th one has to do with the fact that we are in a moratorium for group camps. And this application preceded that moratorium. We are doing work actively, and we imagine that there might be changes to the code. We know there will be changes to the code, and based on those changes, which are not adopted yet, will be adopted later this year, they may have an opportunity, as they would even if the code didn't change, to apply in the future for and amend this application for maybe additional entitlements if they're available. So that's what this 10th one. And then the 11th one really addresses if there are any statements made tonight that need to be part of the record, that they'll be captured. So with that, we are recommending this application favorably to the Planning Commission and the board. Again, the conditional use permit will go under the board. The site plan is under your purview this evening. So that concludes my presentation. I can answer any questions, and the applicant is here and they have a presentation as well.
Any questions?
One question, one of your early slides, you listed 75 for
Yeah.
east, 25 for the middle, 25 for the west, so that's 125, so no more than 100 at any one time?
That's right,
Okay.
that's right.
And it did say guests, is that staff? How does that work? I mean, could you have 25 staff people?
It wouldn't include the staff, because we're assuming that they would.
Right, but is there a limitation to the amount of
To the
staff?
number of staff?
Right,
No,
okay.
no, I think they expect 3 or 4 staff members kind of on an ongoing basis, so that's not a large number. Those would be people I think that would be coming and going.
Okay, And it didn't say anything about animals, dogs. I mean, a lot of people bring their dogs camping,
They
so
do. I
that
don't think
counts.
we made any restrictions to
Okay.
dogs.
Or cats, big cats, little cats,
Or
like
cats.
For that matter.
goats, I don't know,
Yeah,
whatever people have.
Oh, this one segues quick.
yeah, we could, that would be a good applicant question also.
Okay,
Alright, with no other questions, Sterling and Sarah, we'd like to hear your presentation, please.
Just a minute.
Can I ask a question based on this right now?
Sure.
Okay. Number 3, the third condition says that the building, permitting would be compliant with the building code, and then it specifically references setbacks. How does that work? Because there will be setbacks for the new group camp code, right? So is that implying that we would have to meet the new group camp code setbacks if that might change, or, okay,
No, they're the setbacks in place now.
okay,
Yeah, you'd be grandfathered for anything new.
okay, it
Does that
says
make
current
sense?
code, so I just wanna make sure that that's,
Yeah,
The
and that's
code when
all
you
your,
applied, the code that was in effect when you applied.
okay.
You want the clicker?
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, thank you everybody for having us. It's now the
Laura,
alright, there we go. As was mentioned before, this is 2453 County Road 11A. It is 91.02 acres. That has been an active forestry management project for 25 years. The Mudge family, which includes myself, Sarah, Arlo, and Olive, and Taxi Mudge. We've been residents in Lake County for 26 years, and we've owned the property since 7/14/2021.
Just be able to scroll.
There we go. So the vision of Alpenflow is a unique experience contributing to economic development, leveraging our recreation tourism, and meeting community desires clearly outlined in the Lake County Comprehensive Plan, both current and the one being worked on. It is a semi-primitive and semi-developed group camp experience centered around non-motorized trails, unique overnight stays, and tent camping.
Oh.
Chime in.
Can you go back? Yeah. So we are really excited about this opportunity and the property in particular. We believe that we are kind of combining a lot of existing uses and commercial offerings that are in the county already. I don't know how many of you have actually camped at the Forest Service? Yes?
Okay.
Or gone to 10th Mountain Hut, maybe?
not that.
We're going to the Tennessee Coast Nordic Center, trail use and other offerings. So we really think that this is, our property and our idea, really is, really unique and not superior to all of those things, but offers really great access, proximity to town, not only access to and from the property, but for people coming or visiting, using this as a home base and experiencing the county outward in other ways as well. We have very deliberately designed the access throughout the property, because you could drive a car up the road that exists there up to the top, but we very much want to kind of have that hike-in experience without the 3 or 23-mile need to hike in necessarily to a 10th Mountain Hut. So that's kind of what we have on that middle section that Melissa explained and the western section as well. And as thank you Melissa, pointed out, all of those areas do have an access of like an OHV vehicle. And again, just very deliberately not our typical automotive, vehicles. And we also don't have and as we explained in the application, I believe we have deliberately not added like a parking area or suggested a parking area on Halfmoon Road, because we don't want to draw more people in that congested area with vehicles.
Yep, so the plan as a guest, you access the property via County Road 11A. You drive in here, you check in. If you're staying in the tents or a van site, there's no RV, no hookups. So we're hoping to encourage tent use and self-contained campers and vans. You check in here and go to your site. If you are staying in one of the sheltered structures, you would park here and walk or ride a bike to your site. And that includes on this side too, there would be eventually a bridge crossing the creek, and you'd climb up here. There's one adequate crossing with sight lines both up and down County Road 11, which we've verified with Road and Bridge, that this is the one entry and access zone that we have on this. There's a natural steep barrier through the hillside, which prevents people coming in and leaving the property itself.
And the trails designed will be throughout the property, linking and signed, linking both sides of the property, the west and east side.
As was mentioned before, this is actually a view from the property. It might have a few black spots around here now. But those will be green in no time. As was mentioned before, on March 10th, 2026, the Board of Health approved Alpenflow's variance request to utilize vault toilets and urine diverting composting toilets to serve a group camp with a 250 person capacity. And that was based on the engineer's calculations for the 4 1,000 gallon tanks. We believe that our plan aligns with Lake County, or the current Lake County Comprehensive Plan, by supporting recreation and tourism while minimizing infrastructure impacts, protecting water quality, groundwater, and sensitive landscapes, encouraging low-impact development appropriate to rural and recreational areas, and reducing land disturbance and preserving natural character. It also aligns with the new One Community project by supporting and growing locally owned businesses as a cherished and valuable element for our self-reliant community, identify and grow businesses and industries that fit our community character and values, diversify our economy, and provide jobs that sustain local people, and by leveraging tourism and visitors to support local businesses and fund quality of life amenities for locals. Here is a map showing some existing overnight experiences that we have here in Lake County. On this map is also the bigger blue circles are areas that water is provided. The brown tent sites, that's all National Forest Service system campgrounds. Only 2 of those campgrounds currently serve water. I work with the Forest Service maintaining those systems. I do know that they hope to provide water here next year after they rebuild a well house. They haven't had water in Turquoise area for 2 years now. These are the other 3 campgrounds up Half Moon area. These are currently evolving as the Forest Service goes through their designated dispersed implementation plan. If you don't know, the Forest Service has done a lot of tree thinning and tree cutting, both right now on the ground as we speak.
Even more so.
And also in the previous months, they've done a lot of thinning and creating fire breaks. That also has impacted a lot of the existing dispersed campsites that are up Half Moon. So it's pushing some of those users into other areas within the county that we haven't seen previously. As noted, there's a couple yurts on these sides. This up here, this is the Tennessee Pass yurts, overnight yurts. They haul in water for the overnight guests. This is something that we want to point out because we think that we have a good plan to provide water via Parkville Water District. And it has been approved by the state. We've worked with Lake County, but they don't currently have a plan in place to monitor that type of situation. So hopefully that'll evolve into something.
Yeah, I think that's one thing we wanted to bring up and ask decision makers if, because contrary to the staff report, we didn't propose solely a users hauling water only. We would love to have something similar to the US Forest Service. They currently haul 450-gallon tanks in the back of trucks to some of their campsites. And we'd love to have that in addition to our non-potable water that's on the property for our users.
This is an example of Explore Us. They're the concessionaire for the 533 campsites located on Forest Service land right now. They haul water, and this is an example of their system.
That's a 450-gallon tank.
Emergency evacuation plan. This really, this is evident in these times. We've seen in the last 2 weeks how emergencies affect our community, and we believe this evacuation plan is a good one. We worked with the Lake County Fire Rescue Team to help make this, and as was mentioned, each of our guests would be downloaded with this information or spoken to and made aware of an emergency evacuation plan.
I have one quick question. Because I think in the other report, it said that the road and bridge will only maintain up to the end of County Road 11A. So you have arrows pointing down to Road 130. That wouldn't be maintained all the time, but it's part of the emergency evacuation.
So the 11A hits the pipeline, and then technically that is really our driveway from the end of the county road through our private property. We would maintain that all as vehicle access year round. The other vehicle access that we would have would be over the snow through winter months. So Half Moon Road is not maintained past a certain point. That's 13, it really is like 1,300 feet to the edge of the forest there, if you can imagine where that meadow starts out there. And I guess maybe where the asphalt ends on Half Moon Road. So it's 1,300 feet from the property. and that's not plowed through the winter months, but all of that is packed down, just as Half Moon Creek would have that access for over the snow
Right.
movement or south to 130.
Okay, so south to 130, that's I guess where my question is that wouldn't be maintained by Road and Bridge, it would be maintained by you up to the end of the property, but potentially sending people that direction to an unmaintained road.
It's,
Is that correct?
you know what, I believe that US Forest Service 130 is on Schedule A, which is an agreement with the county to do certain Forest Service roads
Okay,
over like every 40 years. And that road had just been, that whole route was just updated and maintained and graded for the culvert replacement on County Road 11. That
Okay.
was 2 summers ago.
okay, so yes, if they're getting that information and they go out the main road down the hill there and they turn right, they're not gonna have a problem.
It goes through County Road 130 or Forest Service Road 130 starts a parcel south of ours. And that is continuous to Shore Pretty Drive.
County Road 10 to Highway 24.
Okay, comes up over the hill to County Road
Mhm.
10.
Mhm.
Okay.
That would not be, I mean, we would
We
tell
would-
everybody the main exit
I just
routes
like
are
if I'm
County Road
going down
11A.
there and it's an evacuation, right, and I'm nervous because I'm not from the area and I see arrows going both ways.
Well, we probably wouldn't have arrows going both
Okay,
ways and
well-
we could change this to say ideal, like primary evacuation route, County Road 11.
Right, that's
Right?
why I'm saying versus if you have two options, are they both gonna be equally favorable as a departure route?
Right. You
It
can,
is.
that's good feedback, yeah, we can highlight 11A.
As a primary.
Probably depends on the source of the hazard that's coming in.
Right, I mean, it could be a
If
lot of
it's
things.
coming from the south,
Yeah.
you're not gonna want to send people to the south.
If it was the last winter, there's no snow, right, so it's no issue, but
Yeah, and we're guessing we're not gonna have many people tent camping throughout the winter. So
Right. We're guessing, our expectation is a lot more van
the hardy
campers.
souls.
Cause there aren't really a lot of van camping options through winter months. So we're expecting, a lot.
yeah, I just wouldn't wanna make a bunch of assumptions based on that just because it could happen,
Mhm.
so I don't know, when I'm on an airplane and it tells me to evacuate to the nearest exit, and I don't wanna be guessing which way is the best way. They always tell me it could be to the back is the shortest distance.
Mhm.
You know, even though you see the lights going to I don't know, I like to ask a lot of questions and knows that I like to lay everything.
I have a couple of questions for the applicants. What 60 days are you planning to be closed? Will it be the same time every year? Are you planning to close in the dead of winter, or what are you looking at?
Our thought right now would be kind of mud season. Mud season,
Be
so
closed in March,
May-
April?
March, April, and November. And also, I'm a hunter, and if I were to ever draw a 48 tag, it would be a good place to hunt, but and give the animals a break too, so.
And just with our current emergencies going on, what do the fire rings look like at your campsites?
They would be, well, I'm glad you brought that up, they would be metal, they'd be the tall ones that the Forest Service is now upgrading to currently. It also, us being a private entity, we are able to enforce fire bans that a lot easier, we don't have to necessarily wait for the Forest Service.
You don't have to call somebody else at the.
We don't have
For enforcement.
to ask permission or seek guidance on whether whether or not we want to enforce a fire ban.
And
So we see that as an advantageous part of our plan as far as like the management of the recreation in the area.
And additionally, how many full-time camp keepers? In other words, how many people would be at the camp at any one time if you had campers on site to be able to enforce those kinds of rules?
We would plan to be there daily, the two of us, or one of the two of us. And then, as Melissa said, I think we projected maybe 5 or 6 employees over the next few years.
Is the plan to have somebody there 24 hours or just on a daily basis to check in?
Just on a daily basis, but certainly available, and all the check-in information or online information would also give our phone
Sure.
numbers for 24/7 access and, you know, from user to user complaints or neighbor complaints, we would have the ability to get there
Okay, so
at any point
that
in the
makes
day.
sense. The availability to respond in a timely manner.
Yep.
Next question, the bridge across the creek that's going to be constructed, will it be large enough and heavy enough to be able to support fire equipment? No,
A fire engine?
No, it would be,
like a wildland fire truck.
it would be pedestrian
Okay,
based.
so there won't truly be any access on that side. Should,
Well, you can go County Road 11.
okay,
So this is the Halfman Road.
and circle around to get to that side, should there
To
be
get to
something
that
to,
side,
okay.
And
And there would be no fire rings on this side.
So explain that, no fire rings, meaning there are no fires on that side?
No, not necessarily no fires. In the structures, there may be a heating source via
Sure.
a stove.
Yeah.
But there wouldn't be any open
exterior fire
rings,
rings.
exterior
Okay.
fire rings.
Okay, great.
And part of our plan too is to offer either rent or supply propane, you know, a lot of us go on river trips and BLM land and all that has been like banned from fire for years now. So I think a lot of people are getting really familiar with
Mhm.
bringing an alternative or having to use an alternative, and that would definitely be in the forefront of our interest.
And my very last question, 100 people, that's potentially 50 vehicles, how do you absorb those vehicles? If everybody's hiking in and you don't have a designated parking area,
We
where
have,
are the vehicles going?
we have 2 large parking areas here.
Do it,
And we also have, not sure if we have, our parking plan isn't on here. So in these easements, if there were to be overflow parking, we have the ability to park cars safely here on the property.
Okay,
The pipeline technically is our property. We would prefer not to park people there, but we have the ability to. We have a large area here, or right here, sorry, for parking, and a large area here for parking as well.
so most of the time your clients would be parked around your 2 buildings.
Yes, well, only if they're using the sheltered areas. Otherwise, they would be parked at each of their campsites.
With their vans, yes, of course.
that shows the park.
there should be, yeah, I think the parking plan should be in that application.
Yep,
So
now I
you can
got
see
it.
some of that stuff
Thank you.
if you want to. Okay.
And
I had seen that, I heard you say earlier that you had taken out parking, so I wanted to address that.
And then I just have a quick question, so where it goes through County Road 11 through the property, is there any dispersed camping happening there right now, or is there, how is it deterred?
This is this is BLM right here. This is a spot right here. There's probably around 10 sites down here between the opening and Jamie Becker's property to our property. There's around 10 sites there on BLM land that's dispersed.
But people will know that there's no dispersed camping through
Yeah,
this
this-
portion.
This is a very steep hill that there's only one way to enter here. So it's naturally protected from any vehicular traffic, and there's no space to stop there. Due to the terrain.
Would you need? Alright, any other questions for the?
I've got a few more slides, sorry.
Oh, sorry, no, of course.
So changing landscapes, I could have updated this a little more in the last 2 weeks. But this is just a view of what the Forest Service has been working on recently. This is the view from the Colorado Trail down Emerald Lake. This is our property over here. You can see some of these new clear cuts here that the Forest Service has been working on. Those are in this purple area and the red area. It's a changing landscape, and it is changing the way that the visitors to Half Moon Creek are using that area, because some of the popular dispersed campsites have been taken away due to the recent logging. And yeah, having not stepped foot on that area in the last 2 weeks, I imagine it looks a whole lot different now.
And also, as Melissa mentioned, the property has been under a Colorado State Forest Service Forest Management Plan for over a decade before we have owned it, and we have entered into a new decade-long plan. Those are our annual conversations, well, more than one time a year, but annual inspections on the property with the Colorado Forest Service. And then during those conversations, we discuss what we're going to be doing in the following year. There's a table and a 10-year plan of what we should be looking at and doing from year to year. And that includes noxious weed mitigation, revegetation, thinning, downing mistletoe, trees that are infested with mistletoe. So those are 3 big ongoing elements.
Conclusion. That's it. We request that the Planning and Zoning Commission recommends approval of Alpenflow's conditional use permit. This permit aligns with the comprehensive plans, protects public health and environment, is consistent with other safe and successful businesses operating in the county, and it offers extended seasonality for overnight stays under a managed operation, both of which have been identified as priorities and needs in Lake County, especially in the last 2 weeks.
The 2 kind of things we'd love to highlight and circle back with a conversation or get that feedback from the decision makers is that water piece, and as well as I think condition 10 on coming back, having had many conversations over the last few years with staff, coming back to add capacity to our operation, depending on what ends up being allowed or changed in code. We'd love to come back to add capacity as our infrastructure allows. And look at that specifically, or come back for specific changes. Specific changes.
Very good, thank you, and I'm sorry we asked questions before you were finished.
You're fine.
All right, any other questions from the commission or commissioners? I have a list of people who've signed in to make comment. I will go in the order that you signed in.
Joey, sorry, can I ask for a point of privilege?
Say that again.
May I ask for a point of privilege to use the restroom? And pause, please.
Yes,
before we go to
absolutely.
public comment.
We will take a 5-minute recess for Zoom at 5.
Thank you so much. And your office.
Joey, can you put my name on?
Yeah, anybody else that wants to sign in, please do.
Here, I'll just.
Thank you. Point of privilege. I've heard that one. I was trying to read your mind, but I was just giving you that.
Sometimes that kind of helps, Sterling. Gets a little airflow going.
Maybe just take the filter out and let it circulate air.
Right. I know our little
We're gonna have a busy
purifier,
night.
it's been getting
Night.
with the smoke and everything.
Joey, do you want us to,
Sorry, I had asked for 5 minutes, so we were gonna resume about 5 p.m.
I do that.
for public comment, 3 minutes?
I was gonna do
Do you
3
want us
minutes.
to- Are you gonna?
I'll
do
time it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
You're welcome to.
Oh, if you've
It's
got it.
one less thing for me, but I've got it set up.
Okay, I can do it on my lunch, but it's probably easier if you've got it right
Yeah,
there.
mine's really obnoxious, so it'd be pretty obvious.
Okay, perfect.
I don't know. How much? Presentation. I'm confused. I feel confused. She says,
I was in
Took my shot today, I was like,
She must be going exactly what it was hot.
It's just hot.
Presentation, social media slides. Saying to reach out to everybody else.
Yes.
That sense of.
Perfect. That's what that.
Let me check it out.
I thought she had her.
She just had the OEM logo.
For sure.
Oh, for sure. You're right.
Yes.
Sorry to talk to you.
3 minutes, that's a recent change.
I think 3 is the standard.
It's 3 minutes is the standard of the city, and I haven't done this here before, so I just went with what I know.
Okay,
You know.
okay.
I hope that's okay.
Oh, no, that's fine, I just,
Yeah, no, I'm
it's
so
it's
used to
been
doing
2
stuff in the
minutes
city, I
before,
just.
which is,
It kind of depends on how many people, that we have in the room, and obviously it's a little stuffy.
yeah, I mean, Heather's always been a 2-minute stickler, cause I've been constrained by
I
that.
was gonna say, I'm trying, I don't want anybody to talk for 10 minutes, but I also don't want you to have to ask twice, so
Yeah,
maybe
no,
we can do it in 3 minutes.
I think that's great.
Okay. So, no, that was just my ignorance, that was all that was.
No,
Messes
no,
with
that's
the
fine,
sound.
I thought it was a great change.
Yeah.
What?
No, right? Maybe I could put it in the hall. To blow air in. Maybe next to
I think there needs to be a window right here.
Okay.
Something.
Okay, that's not an option right now.
There needs to be another egress point.
It's nice material.
We could not agree
Air
more.
or.
Out the road for like. Vortex Bolero. Appreciate it. See you, Sam.
It's like a simple, yeah, this guy, and then something sharpened, the right strong.
Oh, cool.
Fill out the house.
See you, Sam.
So, this one, I'm gonna stack some notes and do some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smith.
Range, it's
We get down.
it's fine, though, it's like, I want to figure
I appreciate it.
If we don't get to them, we'll email.
Yeah, I know several of us are not trying to get to an EDC meeting at 6.
Oh,
We'll see.
no worries.
Can you join us?
Yeah, too.
All right, everybody, it is 5 o'clock and we will adjourn. Oh, sorry, reconvene. Careful. Reconvene. All right, we are recording, yes? All right, first person on our list this evening to speak is Brian McNabb. Do we need to-
I've discussed a little bit of this with Ledges in the past, we were here at another meeting.
Give us just 1 second, do they need to say their name and their address?
Yes.
Okay, name and address just for the record, please, and then your comments.
Brian McNabb, we live at Stargazer, 214 Stargazer in Centennial Heights, which probably 90% of the traffic that will go to their development will come right by us. We already have multiple events every year. The limits are getting in and out easily. And then you have the fact that, my opinion, the access in and out of there with truck traffic and the fire department having a training facility that they wanna expand, and the disco going on, along with all the events, is definitely a safety hazard. That road is not designed for all this traffic. There's no shoulders on it for bikes or runners or anything else. Just a few weeks ago, when they had just a training camp out in our area, we had 5 people wide across the road. And you gotta stop and literally letting them just walk. I mean, it's a pain in the butt, just to be real honest about it. And like I say, and they're talking about the Forest Service Road. When we had to do the Forest Service Road, when they put the culvert in out there, it's a typical Forest Service road. Yes, they made a couple improvements in a couple spots, but in bad weather, I'm not going down that road. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I mean, I had to have both my vehicles realigned just because of driving that road. So, now, it's not so much just one thing, it's a compound of things. They have expanded the gravel pit out there. I don't know exactly what the story is behind it, but we have a lot more truck traffic. You know, we're getting dusted out there. You know, it affects our homes. This is where we live. I understand, they wanna do a business, I understand that. They wanna make money. They have property, and I get that. But it affects us every day. That's where we live. Most of the people in here don't live there. So, any decision you make affects us every day. It's not once in a while, it's not just the weekend, it's every day. You know, and I can't speak for other people, that's an investment, my home is an investment. And, you know, gravel pits, fire training grounds and stuff, to me, you're turning it into an industrial area.
All right.
Who wants to live in an industrial area?
Thank you, sir. That's your 3 minutes. Thank you. All right, and next on the list is Aaron Farrell. Please stand up, state your name and your address, please.
I don't have anything to say, thank you.
Oh, perfect, thank you. Next on the list would be Jody DeRushi.
I have nothing to say.
Thank you. Sterling and Sarah probably can't. Donna Roberts.
Oh, I wrote no, but thank you for your.
Thank you. Oh, sorry, yeah, I'm not paying attention. Jeff Roberts?
Jeff Roberts, 118 Alder Street in Leadville. As been mentioned a couple of times, tourism is very important to Lake County. And here we have a couple willing to invest in Lake County and open up a business that is intended to bring more people into Lake County. People that will be interested in Lake County and spend money in Lake County. That will not only help them, but will help all the businesses in Lake County. I think that the question shouldn't be, do you approve the permit, but how can we help them succeed? Not only succeed, but, and not only them, but all the businesses in Lake County thrive. So I would recommend a vote to approve the application.
Thank you very much. Rod Weston.
Thank you. I'm Rod Weston, 208 West 6th Street in Leadville. About 10 years ago, I met Sarah when we served on the Leadville City Planning Commission together. Shortly after that, she got elected to the Board of County Commissioners. At that time, as a resident and taxpayer, I had 2 asks of her. One was to replace this room with a better ventilated meeting room. The other was that, the Board of County Commissioners not depend on creating a savings account that was gonna carry the county after the mine closed. I lived 12 years in Alaska, mostly remote villages, with all that oil flowing down the pipeline from Prudhoe Bay. They have a huge savings account, and it wouldn't last very long if they had a similar situation until mine closed. The other, so what I asked Sarah to do was that the county support development. Since that time, living on 6th Street, I know that the lifetime races have grown, and I've supported them. It's not always convenient to have that happen in your front yard, but if we want to have sidewalks in the town and have them not roll up, we need to have some kind of an economy that's gonna go on in the future. We've had places, different businesses go in, freight's opened up, a lot of improvements over the years that I think the county has helped out with. I'm only here, I only found out about this through posts on Facebook that were particularly harsh about the county commissioners, the Mudges, possibly even you folks. And it just didn't seem to fit, so I thought I needed to come and speak up about that. Both Sarah and Sterling came to my class at the local college when I was teaching geography to talk about the use of geography in their work with the county and with the trail group. They were helpful in that way. The last 10 years, I've had 2 back fusions, and when I have something heavy to move, I just text Sarah and like magic, Sterling shows up. So I think it's important, that doesn't show up in any of the requirements, but it's important that we have people in businesses that care about the community and are willing to give back and help out. People you can go to if there is a problem and say, hey, how can we improve the situation? And I think that they would be willing to do that, so I would ask you to approve the request. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Weston. Peter Day.
I had a no.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for that too. Katie Anderson, a maybe.
Maybe, yes, I'll talk for just a little bit.
Go ahead.
I would like to echo Jeff and Mr. Weston, Katie Anderson, 134 East Fourth. Sterling and Sarah have given a lot to our community, a lot, for a long time. This seems like a really unique and interesting and exciting opportunity for our community members and visitors. It's not something we have in town, and I think it would be an awesome opportunity, and I just wanted to voice my support of their project. Hopefully you give it a pass.
Very good, thank you, Ms. Anderson. And Tamara.
Tamara, General 540 County Road 6B, representing Lake County, BC today. Coming out of OCP, top thing on our list was lodging. We are currently sending upwards of 70 to 80% of our tourists over the hill or south to stay. These are critical numbers, particularly now as we walk out of the last 2 weeks on the back end of the drought. You can see even more amplified how important it is that we increase whatever footsteps we can to keep them in our county. As an EDC representative, every voice in this room is important, and finding that pathway forward is important, and finding that middle ground that works for all of us, but we need lodging desperately. And our businesses are suffering in a drastic state at this moment. We're gonna host another meeting, anybody who's a business, please come join us at 6 o'clock to hear what those priorities are. But ultimately, from the EDC standpoint, what we understand and what we see from the Alpen Flow application is meeting the standards required with the conditions provided, and are firmly supporting that and hope that we will push this along so that we can continue to keep some of those footsteps right here where we have.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else in the room that would like to make comment that didn't make it onto the sign-in list this evening? Seeing none, we'll move on to online comments. I see anyone who'd like to make an online comment, please do raise your hand. I do see a first person with their hand raised. Mr. Kancic, you have 3 minutes. Tina, can you hear us? Tina, if you can hear us, go right ahead. You've got 3 minutes. Is there anybody else on? Is there anybody else online who'd like to make any comments? If so, please say something or raise your hand. And Tina, I can see your microphone going on and off. You are muted right now. Last, yes.
Can we ask that somebody else speak, just in case it's our
Oh,
speaker
absolutely.
online?
It would anyone online please make a comment just so that we know that you can hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Thank you, Jen. It was a good question. Ms. Takancic, I saw your microphone switch one more time. You are muted. But if you'd like to speak, now's your chance.
Put it in the chat.
There
Can
we
you
go.
hear me now?
Yes, ma'am. You have,
Okay.
I'll restart your timer. You've got 3 minutes, ma'am.
No, you're good. So I live on West A Street, and so the only problem I have is I've been doing a lot of looking, and it seems like the county was able to acquire all these easements while Sarah was a commissioner, and it's like, you know, I have a problem with that because it looks like it's just all dedicated to bikers. We know that nobody wants UTVs up there. And so I think it needs to be relooked at. And I also think that people need to look into how these easements were acquired, as far as who was all involved and the amount of money that was taken to acquire this. My personal opinion is this was personal gain while she was a county commissioner. And I have addressed it with the Ethics Commission, which there's a pending claim, just because I want clarification that this was done with not our county dollars and what the purpose of it was in acquiring these easements and then taking on your master plan down south. That's all I have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Takancic. Anyone else online who'd like to make any public comments this evening? Seeing none. What do we do next? 1 second.
Close the hearing.
Yes, we are at that point. With no further questions, is this the time to do a rebuttal? Yeah, would you like to answer to any questions? Go right ahead, please.
Well, I'm not really sure what we spoke in our presentation about the easements that exist on our land. Those were in place, long before we purchased the property. Those are for the Mount Albert conduit and the Half Moon conduit, 2 pipelines that run through our property.
Those are the only easements regarding the project. I think other comments or responding, I don't know that I have a big response to anything in particular that we've heard, other than there are, emphasizing our ability to be on site and specifically managing camping and activities that are going on and existing in the county. We have been out at the property nearly every day until we were evacuated. Sterling and I combined have done monitoring up and down Half Moon. It's really great to add that kind of, those eyes on the ground around the county land that gets camped on, right near our property. We've put out warm campfires, so I really just might emphasize, the additional benefits of like having a presence really out there.
Very good.
With the operation.
Okay. All right, with no further questions, I would,
Joey,
yes,
I think we could add, staff could add.
oh, by all means.
Part of the rebuttal. One of the comments that was raised by Sarah has to do with the issue of an oversight program for a water program. So the Mudges did initially want to use Parkville water in some sort of a cistern and be able to use that as potable water. So we did talk to the CDPH&E and I have a letter, a memo in the file, but I will speak to that. So in January, Candace Burns, who is our county manager, followed up the conversation that staff had with Musha Madin, who is the one who addresses those kinds of programs, and indicated that Lake County government is not required to provide a regulatory oversight in these scenarios, but a regulatory oversight there needs to be one. And so the absence of a county level oversight program does not create an exemption from the regulation. So just because we don't have one doesn't mean you can have water provided in this way. So we all recognize that this probably would be a good solution, but it would require additional staffing, which we don't have right now. So certainly as part of the moratorium work, we're looking at that as like one of the solutions. But we currently don't have the resources at this time, and I think the Mudges do understand that. So at this time, there's no regulatory pathway available to provide that for us, so.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. Doesn't change anything at all with the current application.
It doesn't,
It's just as moving forward and potentially in the future enhancing the campground.
it could,
Very good.
yeah, and other campgrounds like it, which is.
No way to
great.
do it right now, but that can change.
Exactly.
All right. May I get a motion to close the discussion phase of the joint public hearing?
I move to close the discussion phase of the joint public hearing.
Second. All in favor? Aye. All right, at this point, county commissioners, nice to see all three of you in person. You may leave. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nice to have you guys here in person. Thank you. All right, any other discussion among planning members? Questions of staff, questions of admin?
Well, we heard a concern about traffic on the road, so I don't recall what was in the staff report about impact mitigation or the analysis
Or
of
dust
that.
mitigation, that was the one that came up for me.
Yeah, so that was one of the comments from the Soil Conservation District, was providing some dust mitigation. I think as the project was reduced in scale down to 100 people, I think that the traffic generated, campground, typically people are coming and going all day long. They don't all leave at one time. So I think that from our perspective, that's a really low impact overall.
Okay.
Dust mitigation, is required, the Mudges are gonna, I'm sure want that as well for their campers, so. But that was part of the Soil Conservation District work.
Okay, so it's addressed as a requirement.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So what's the current, do you know the current speed limit on that road going in?
Going in, I don't,
25 unless otherwise posted, but you really can't go much
you
over
can't go very fast.
10 or so.
There's 3 different signs.
Unless we're in your truck.
I just know lately doing a lot of work in the Twin Lakes area, they have a dust problem all through Panark and all that area. And it is problematic. And it seems like a lot of the residents just have their own signs made that say, drive slower, no dust, that kind of thing. I don't know if that's helpful or not, but I can see how that could get
Oh, no, dust will definitely be an issue on the, I mean, it is an issue on the road currently, so adding anything to it just makes it something that's larger to have to manage.
Right, and you know, you have to assume that you're at full capacity for those, is it 10 months? 10 months, you're at full capacity all the time.
Mhm.
Like you said, if that's 50 vehicles as an estimate, 2 people per vehicle or whatever, plus staff.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know what that looks like over time, but I mean, it is, I think, something that's, you know, warrants some merit in discussing that, or,
Well, and it is one of their listed requirements. under
but the
conditions of
requirement
approval.
being,
Dust mitigation.
Yeah, and maybe I think that the Soil Conservation District made a recommendation. So we have not had a requirement, let me correct myself.
Okay.
In saying that
No,
there
sure,
is a
yeah,
requirement, right?
understood.
It's a recommendation, so.
Is it acceptable still to ask questions of the applicant at this point?
If you wanna reopen.
Oh, don't wanna reopen.
Well, I think as far as the usage of the facility goes, it'll be a blend of people that are one-night campers and people that are gonna stay there the whole week, perhaps. So it's not gonna be all 100 guests going in and then going out every day.
true,
Yeah, so I mean, it's gonna incrementally increase traffic. And there already is the pit traffic and the training facility traffic. So it's, how do you distinguish the relative impacts? Is it
well, and that's,
significant enough?
yeah, and I think that's a tough thing to figure out, because if you want growth and you wanna be able to provide economic growth and whatnot, you're gonna have more people. More people means more traffic, and so it kind of goes hand in hand, but
Yeah.
at what point does the discussion happen to manage the
and so-
other side of that?
Well, and so much of this road is not under the applicant's control, of course,
Correct.
but what I might suggest as an additional condition of approval would be, mindful signage of dust conditions
Yeah,
on the applicant's property at the entrance.
yeah, I mean, you can't necessarily when they're arriving, but as they leave, maybe, hey, be mindful of our residents.
It's just a suggestion, but that would be a way to address
And I
concerns.
think it goes back to, I think, a long time ago, we talked about, you know, just being good neighbors and how do you handle that coming in, especially a lot of these group camp type
Yeah,
applications.
just public awareness, whether it's on your app or whether it's a sign at the entrance as people are leaving. There's some way to address concerns of neighboring residents.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've seen a lot of signs all around, just have a sign out there that says be kind.
Sure,
You know,
yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
I mean, I think maybe that's maybe needed nowadays, unfortunately,
I like the idea of putting it on,
go ahead, no.
I like the idea of putting it on the app.
For sure.
Because I imagine they anticipate most of the bookings will be through the app.
Yes. Yeah.
So
and
maybe
as
you
a-
have to tick a box or something when you make your reservation that we acknowledge that dust is an issue.
So maybe then acknowledging, and it's not just dust, you know, when it's wet, it's gonna be road conditions, of course, and noise, but
Yeah.
some type of a public consideration comment on the app at sign-in or at registration, maybe. If somebody wants to make a note of that. Are there any other comments or questions by the planning commission? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
I'm gonna read it. All right, I move that the planning commission conditionally approve the Alpenflow site plan review. Are we doing the site plan or
One
the
at a
CPU?
time.
Okay. We start it.
So this one will be for the,
Site plan review.
you wanna do site plan review first? That's fine.
Does it matter, the order?
Let's do the conditional use permit first.
Okay, let me find that. Okay, I move that the planning commission recommend conditional approval to the Board of County Commissioners of file 25-19, a conditional use permit application for the group camp. The location is 8.5 miles south-southeast of Leadville, north one half of section 3, 4, and 5, township 11 south, range 80 west, and the south half of section 32, 34, 33, and 34, township 10 south, range 80 west of the 6th principal meridian. Staff finds the application generally meets the standards of section 5.2.6 group camp. Planning Commission further finds that the approval criteria pursuant to Lake County Land Development Code, section 3.6.1F, have been met as evidenced in the staff report dated June 8th, 2026 for file 25-19. The conditions for approval are: 1, Lake County Road and Bridge will maintain County Road 11A up to the power line year-round. Any plowing in the winter, in addition to the county's schedule, will need to be coordinated with the County Public Works Director for approval. 2, Alpenflow shall adhere to the fire and safety requirements as outlined by LLCFR. 3, future building and utility construction and installation require compliance with the adopted building code and permit process, which includes verification of setbacks and building heights. 4, on an annual basis, an audit report shall be submitted to CPD verifying the maximum code allowed occupancy of 100 persons allowed on a daily basis. 5, Alpenflow shall operate consistent with the variance granted by the Board of Health on March 10th, 2026. 6, as recommended by Lake County Public Health, Alpenflow will maintain pumping records on the facility so they are available to the public, pumpers, and owners. 7, the road permit through Public Works is required prior to construction of the internal primitive road network. 8, as proposed by the applicants and in accordance with the LLCFR and CSFS management plan, is required to be maintained. 9, the applicant shall consider the recommendations from the Lake County Soil Conservation District concerning noxious weed management and dust mitigation. 10, should the standards associated with permitted use be modified or changed in future iterations of the Land Development Code, the applicants at their sole discretion may apply for a permit amendment to become compliant under the current code. 11, all statements and representations made by the applicant in its application and in hearing shall be binding and considered as conditions of approval unless amended by other conditions of approval.
Did you wanna add the last or no?
And that would be 13. I closed it.
It'd be number 12.
12.
Yeah.
Additional signage should be considered to control traffic and dust and
For the guests.
for guests, and add to the Alpenflow app reference to reducing speed, minimizing dust
Very good.
impacts.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
All right. Roll call vote of planning commission members: Jason Marufo,
Aye.
David Urich,
Aye.
Joey Edwards, aye. The motion passes. Congratulations.
But then this goes on to
EFCC.
yeah, county commissioner.
Yes, that's correct. This will be
This
heard
is
at
just
the
a
next,
recommendation.
that we are a recommendation of the Board of County Commissioners. That is correct.
So you have another meeting, which you already know, but
Thank you for the clarification. You're right.
We have
If you have not adjourned yet, we actually, I think, need to amend the motion. If you can give us just one moment, please.
okay, and then we also have the second part.
Oh, that's very true. Thank you.
Did the CPU,
I gotta turn it
now we gotta
sideways
do
because
the
I
plan
can't see it
approval.
when it's
Yeah,
This is a lot more work than others not to.
we gotta do the plan
All right, that's gonna be
approval.
page 23. Can you read it? You wanna use my computer?
which,
Page 23 is the motion for the Alpenflow site plan review.
2519,
Yes, it's for file number 2519, it's on page 23 of your packet.
okay.
May I approach?
Please.
Is the description?
Should be this one, right?
Oh, site plan, there you go.
Yes. Limit of the description of the property described as this, and it should, more appropriately be described as the south half of section 7, township 10, range 80 west.
All right, is that something I can just read into the meeting?
I think that you can make a motion to amend, and then ask for a second, and then take roll call.
All right, we are going to clarify our location in the,
I think you have to make the motion to clarify.
I'll make the motion to do this one.
Okay, alright.
So this is a clarification on the location for the conditional use permit for file number 2519. Rather than what was read in the original motion, we will amend the location description to the south 1/2, section 7, 10. Township 10, thank you, 80. Range 80, sorry, they're written backwards for me, west. All right, may I have a second?
I'll second that.
On our amended motion, we will do another roll call vote. Jason Rufo,
Aye.
David Yurich,
Aye.
Joey Edwards, aye. All right, I would now entertain a motion for,
Okay.
And you only need to use that location.
and I'll use this in the new one.
For the site plan.
Okay, let me see if I can get this right. I move that the planning commission conditionally approve the Alpenflow site plan review and further find that as condition, the approval criteria pursuant to Lake County Land Development Code section 3.15.3E have been met as evidence in this staff report dated June 8th, 2026 for file 25-19. Is that where I put it in? No,
I don't think you list the location in this.
in this one.
No? Okay.
Okay. The conditions of approval are Lake County Road and Bridge will maintain. Am I doing the right one? Or is that,
Yeah, your conditions of approval are almost identical.
they're almost identical?
Oh, in the staff report dated, and the staff report was dated actually, the 13th of July 13th.
Okay,
Thank you.
let me reread that. I move that the planning commission conditionally approve the Alpenflow site plan review and further find that as conditioned, the approval criteria pursuant to Lake County Land Development Code section 3.15.3E have been met as evidence in the staff report dated June 13th, 2026. July 13th, 2026 for file 25-19. The conditions of approval are: 1, Lake County Road and Bridge will maintain County Road 11A up to the power line year-round. Any plowing in the winter, in addition to the county's schedule, will need to be coordinated with the county public works director for approval. 2, Alpenflow shall adhere to the fire and safety requirements as outlined by LLCFR. Future building and Number 3, future building and utility construction and installation require compliance with the adopted building code and permit process, which includes verification of setbacks and building heights. 4, on an annual basis, an audit report shall be submitted to CPD verifying the maximum code allowed occupancy of 100 persons allowed on a daily basis. 5, Alpenflow shall operate consistent with the variance granted by the Board of Health on March 10th, 2026. Number 6, as recommended by Lake County Public Health, Alpenflow will maintain pumping records on the facilities so they are available to the public, pumpers, and owners. 7, a road permit through Public Works is required prior to construction of the internal primitive road network. 8, as proposed by the applicants and in accordance with the LLCFR, the CSFS management plan is required to be maintained. 9, the applicant shall consider the recommendations from the Lake County Soil Conservation District concerning noxious weed management and dust mitigation. 10, should the standards associated with the permitted use be modified or changed in future iterations of the Land Development Code, the applicants at their sole discretion may apply for a permit amendment to become compliant under the current code. 11, all statements and representations made by the applicant in its application and in hearing shall be binding and considered as conditions of approval unless amended by other conditions of approval.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
All right, roll call once again. David Yurich,
Aye.
Jason Rufo,
Aye.
and Joey Edwards. Aye. That will, let's see here. I don't think I need to read anything else off of our statement, so we are done there. We are done with our public hearing. Public hearing is closed. We did have a few additional pieces of information to discuss this evening.
Just some quick updates. Just really thank you for updating your calendars. We currently have confirmed quorums through the rest of July and August. Please let us know if things change. We're hoping that we'll be doing this round of interviews with potential new members of the commission in order to have a little more availability for you. But we're hoping, again, to do those interviews around August 10th and then have them ready because the schedule's gonna get pretty busy starting in September through the end of the year. And I know it's always difficult around the holidays, but just to give you a little update of what you have coming, we have a housing project at CMC. We have a project at Hayden Meadows that is looking to develop into a planned unit development. We've received the preliminary plan for Angel View 2. We have an expansion project for Lake Fork that would like to develop that expansion through a planned unit development. We have the Vail Mountain School looking to create a group camp. You may be familiar on the way up to Climax, the David Carter property. He has divided that property and the Vail Mountain School is looking to create a group camp there. Excel Energy is moving forward with their construction project. Everything's been approved. Melissa was able to get the development agreement approved on that. Really exciting and notable, I think, for all of our enforcement efforts is that we received a final ruling on a compliance case from the county court. And the court ruled in our favor for that land use enforcement regarding a tiny home and removing that structure. We have 6 cases pending. 2 defendants have complied already, and their cases have been dismissed. 1 opted for this trial, which we were found in favor of. And there are 3 more that are early in the stages of the court process. And then just wanted to recognize the 10-2 project. We are hosting open houses at the 10-2 developments on 6th and 3rd. Actually, the open houses are on 6th Street. And we're close to COs and closings on those 6th Street properties. We celebrated on June 26th, and the project had representatives from DOLA, including the executive director, Maria DeCambria. We're really responsible in a lot of that funding. We also recognize county leadership and all of their hard work on this, and Jackie Wheelahan, St. Vincent School District, Parkville, and Lendell Sand, and both the city and county planning departments and building department. So just wanted to kind of celebrate some of those favorable outcomes that we've had going on.
You have been busy.
Yes, a little bit.
Very good.
Thank you for indulging us with those other updates, but we knew it was important to get to the public hearing this evening.
Commission members, any other questions, comments, concerns?
The only thing I always ask about is the water augmentation, where it's at.
So we will, thank you for reminding us. I think that our agendas are pretty open, coming up, and I think that might be a perfect time that we invite Bryce in, just to do a work session and provide some information on where the OG plan is. There's still work being done, and some agreements and legal issues to get sorted out. But generally, I think it's great information, and I think Bryce is always willing to come in and share that information. So
Very good.
let's look at adding that to one of the agendas.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else from staff this evening?
Nothing else.
We will adjourn the Lake County Planning Commission meeting at 5:41 PM. Thanks, everyone.